All right, let's get right into it. Today we're talking about something that's at the heart of every single meal we make, but it's something you can't even see. We're talking about food safety, and we're going to break down a really simple but super powerful framework to make any kitchen safer.
So, let me start with a question for you. What do you think is the single most important tool in any kitchen? I mean, you might be thinking of a perfectly sharpened chef's knife or maybe some fancy new piece of equipment. But what's the one thing that everything else really, truly depends on?
It all comes down to safety, plain and simple. You could prepare the most incredible, delicious meal in the world, but if it isn't safe, well, none of that matters. Safety is the real foundation for everything we do with food.
To build that strong foundation, you've first got to know what you're up against. And in the kitchen, the biggest threats, the real enemies, are the ones you literally can't see.
Think about how fast this can happen. These harmful germs or pathogens, they're just everywhere. Most are no big deal, but the bad ones can easily hop from a surface right onto our hands. And then, the moment we touch food, we're passing them along. Just like that, you've got a real risk for foodborne illness.
Let that number sink in for a second. 3,200. And get this, that's not the total number of germs. No, that's the number of different types of germs that are likely on your hands right now. It's a whole invisible world living there, and that's exactly why our defense has to be on point.
So how do you fight an invisible army? Well, you do it with a simple, solid, and powerful framework. We're calling it the three-legged stool. And it's the perfect way to think about it, right? A stool needs all three legs to be stable. If you take away just one leg, the whole thing comes crashing down. Food safety works the exact same way.
So let's start building our stool. The very first leg is you. That's right. Personal hygiene is where it all begins. Because the first line of defense in any kitchen isn't a spray bottle or a fancy fridge, it's the person handling the food.
And you know, food safety doesn't just start when you clock in. It starts before you even walk through the door, with how you get ready at home. This really breaks down into two huge areas. First, it's about arriving ready for work. You know, the basics. Clean clothes, trimmed nails, looking sharp. But the second part is absolutely critical, knowing when not to come to work at all. If you have symptoms like vomiting or diarrhea, coming in isn't being a hero, it's putting everyone, your coworkers, and your customers at risk, period.
Now, of all the skills you can have in a kitchen, this one might be the most important. And there's a right way to do it, a specific 5-step process. That 20-second scrub, it's not just a random number. That's how long it takes for the soap and friction to actually lift and wash those pathogens away. Every step here is a crucial link in breaking that chain of contamination.
So knowing how to wash your hands is half the battle. Knowing when is the other half. And this stuff has to become second nature, just pure muscle memory. Think of these moments, like handling raw meat or taking out the trash, as hitting the reset button. Each one is a chance for germs to spread, so each one demands a proper hand wash.
Okay, leg one is solid. Personal hygiene is in place. Now let's talk about the second leg, which is all about what happens when our clean hands actually touch the food. This is all about handling with care.
For any food that isn't going to be cooked after you touch it, we're talking salads, sandwiches, garnishes, you have to use a barrier. Gloves are the go-to, but here's the thing. You've got to treat gloves like a second skin that can get dirty. They pick up germs just like your hands do, so you have to change them anytime they get dirty, torn, or whenever you switch to a new task.
All right, our next absolutely essential tool is the thermometer. It is the only way you can know for sure that food is cooked to a temperature that kills off those nasty pathogens. But any tool is only as good as its accuracy, right? You have to be able to trust what it's telling you. And that trust comes from one simple habit: calibration.
And luckily, it's super simple to do. The ice point method is the gold standard. You just create a constant. Ice water is always going to be 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and you just adjust your thermometer to match it. Make this a regular habit, and you will never, ever be guessing when it comes to temperature safety.
And remember, temperature control isn't just about cooking, it's about managing the food's entire journey. Bacteria have a favorite place to grow and multiply. It's called the danger zone, and it's between 41 and 135 degrees Fahrenheit. So our job is to get food through that zone as fast as possible, whether we're cooling it down with an ice bath or reheating it to a very specific 165 degrees.
2 legs down, our stool is getting pretty sturdy. So now for the third and final leg, the environment itself. This is all about making sure our clean hands and our safe food are working in a space that isn't fighting against us, because a truly clean kitchen is a safe kitchen.
A clean workspace isn't just nice to look at, it's an active part of your defense system. It stops germs from spreading from a counter to a cutting board or from a dirty surface back onto your food. And this requires a really important two-part approach.
Now listen up, because this is one of the most misunderstood ideas in food safety. Cleaning and sanitizing are not the same thing. They're partners, and they have to happen in the right order. Cleaning gets rid of the visible stuff, the food bits, the grime. Sanitizing is what kills the invisible pathogens. And here's the key, you cannot sanitize a dirty surface. It just doesn't work. You have to clean first, always.
And that 1-2 punch, clean first, then sanitize, applies to absolutely everything in the kitchen. We're talking big prep counters and every single pot, pan, and utensil you use.
So here it is, the universal formula. 5 simple steps: scrape, wash, rinse, sanitize, and air dry. And please do not skip that last step. A dish towel, even one that looks clean, can just put germs right back onto the surface you just worked so hard to sanitize. Air drying is the only way to stick the landing.
This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? Each leg, the person, the food handling, and the clean environment, is non-negotiable. You can't just do 2 out of 3 and hope for the best. If one leg is missing, the whole system collapses, and everyone is put at risk. And this is the payoff for all that hard work, for building that strong, 3-legged stool. It's about creating a culture where doing things the right way is just second nature, not some chore you have to think about. And the end result of all that care? It's the one thing every food business wants. Happy guests who feel safe, who feel looked after, and who can't wait to come back.
So, as we wrap this up, I want you to ask yourself, are all 3 legs of your stool strong? Your personal hygiene, your food handling practices, and your clean environment? Because in the world of food, that stability is everything.